To say I wasn't a fan of the first Surface Go would be an understatement. And I don't like it, and beyond that, I cannot recommend it. I've never been shy to share my feelings, even clearly when most people disagree with them. In fact, I believe our review of the original Surface Go was our most disliked video that I have ever done. So when I got the Surface Go 2 in, I was honestly prepared for more of the same. What I got, though, is actually really good now.
And also, if you want to see how we made that intro with motion VFX, stay tuned to the end of the video.
So looking at the Surface Go 2 closed, it looks absolutely identical, indistinguishable from the first gen Surface Go. When you open it up and take off the type cover, you can see that right away Microsoft addressed perhaps one of the biggest complaints people had with the OG Surface Go was them bezels were thick. Microsoft has thinned them down, so the screen has gone from 10 inches on Gen 1 to 10.5 on Gen 2, and it is a really good screen. And I would challenge anybody to find a better touchscreen on a Windows computer for this price point that Microsoft is offering. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful to use, and touch response is awesome. And that screen is housed in essentially the same body as Gen 1, which I think is generally pretty good. You've got the amazing Surface Hinge, which is the same hinge you've got on the much more expensive Surface Pro line. It gives you almost unlimited amount of angles to pretty close to flat. It is close to perfection. The ports are in the same place the ports were, again, on the first gen. So you've got USB Type-C, 3.5mm headset jack, and the Surface connector, which is still here. Any accessories you might have had for Gen 1 will absolutely work here on Gen 2, all the way down to the type cover. So battery life has increased also on the Surface Go 2. Microsoft has it rated at around 10 hours, and that seems to be pretty close to accurate, but obviously your use case is going to totally vary. The Surface line has really been known by, the hardware, but also the type cover has kind of defined it. And I still maintain that it should be included with any of the Surface computers. Right now, it's about a $130 option to go with your Surface Go, but it's really gotten close to perfected now. And any type cover you might have from the first gen Surface Go will work completely here with Gen 2. You have a really good typing experience. The key throw feels absolutely awesome. The keys are a little bit smaller, but you can get used to it very quickly. And you've got things maybe you don't find on some competitors, like an escape key and a full function row are on here as well. I do have a couple complaints with it, and these are kind of minor. So the type cover is held on with magnets. That's kind of the way it's always been. And when you have it on a desk, it works perfectly. You get a nice angle here. When you have it on your lap, that's when you lose all the rigidity. You get a lot of the floppiness. So I noticed this a few times. I had my legs crossed, for example, and I was typing on it. And I had my hands on either side of the touchpad. It would actually almost force a click by bending it. And I kept having weird things happen all over my screen. When I realized what it was, I could correct it, but it's something that's a bit of a small flaw if you use the Surface products on your lap a lot. At the very least, be aware of it. Microsoft has done so much to perfect the hinge on the Surface line. I mean, it's an engineering marvel how well this works. And I think it's time to leave the hinge be for a generation or two and focus on the type cover and make that as amazing as the hinge is on the back. If you look at what the competition is at that $400 price point, the entry level, you're looking at Chromebooks, you're looking at really kind of cheap, perhaps not so powerful, and maybe not the best feeling laptops out there. So now this becomes a pretty interesting value, and you're also getting things that you generally don't get at that price point either. You've got expandable storage here with a micro SD card. There's an option now for LTE. We've got that one here, and it's fully SIM unlocked. You put in any SIM card you want, and it will work here. There are some other additions here, and some big ones that you can't see inside of the computer. The biggest problem that I had with the first generation Surface Go wasn't so much the aesthetics, the hardware, or the really good hinge on here. It was the really anemic Pentium Gold processor, coupled with the price they were charging for it. Now the Pentium Gold is still here on the Surface Go, on the entry level, but now you've got an option to option up to a Core M3 and that makes all the difference. Now, I haven't tested the new generation Pentium Gold, in all fairness. The version Microsoft sent me is a top-of-the-line 8GB M3 model, and it has handled everything I wanted to do with it without any issue at all, just in complete juxtaposition to the first-gen Surface Go. There's been a lot of talk recently about what is a computer. I can tell you unequivocally, this is a computer. And you're not getting a pared down version of Windows. So the Surface Go 2 comes shipped with Windows 10 in S mode, which essentially means you can't download apps from third parties. You can only download apps from the Microsoft Store. But it also comes with a toggle to very simply switch it from Windows 10 S to regular Windows 10 without any difficulty. But of note, you can't switch it back to S if you decide to. And I think on a computer and a tablet at this price point, it's important to note that you don't have to change what you do to suit your computer. This will work as any other Windows PC has worked for you in the past. And what that means is all the apps that you use, unless they're huge, crazy, GPU-intensive apps, will work as advertised, whether you're downloading them from the Microsoft Store or just download them from the now surprisingly good Chromium-based Edge browser. You've got that flexibility to choose to get your apps from wherever you want. Under the lens, at least for most people, this being a companion device, this isn't going to do, powerhouse PC things. It's not going to be a gaming computer. It's not going to be a primary device for Photoshop or video editing, but for running Microsoft Office, running the Google Suite, running browsers and Zoom and Hangouts, whatever else you might be looking to do, watch a video. So what you're going to get is a really capable computer when it's equipped with the Core M3 processor. So the issue that I had with the first gen Surface Go was I wasn't sure who it was for. No matter how much money you spent on it and optioned it up, you were still getting the really not that capable Pentium Gold processor. But now with Gen 2 and sort of the option to have M3, you're getting a very capable computer. But now that capability certainly comes with a price. Better components are more expensive. If you want to opt for the M3, you're starting at $630. The version we have here is LTE, that's another $100. If you want to add a type cover if you don't have one, that's $130. So all in after taxes, you're looking at around $1,000. And this becomes a question of what do you value? For $1,000, you can very easily find a first-gen Surface laptop. You can find pre-owned deals on the Surface Pro line of computers. And for a lot of folks, those are going to be better options. But for those that want to get the Surface Go 2, I can now see who it could be for. As a companion device, I think it makes a lot of sense. Maybe you've got a big desktop tower, you want something portable for video conferencing and watching videos, or for your kids to do long distance learning on. The Go makes a lot of sense. If you're a student and you want a really portable computer that's great for writing essays and maybe watching some movies and consuming some content, the Surface Go now makes a lot of sense. And there are use cases now where I can understand. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you how you should spend your money, but if you decide to option this up to get the most performance, you are looking again at that $1,000 price point. But you are going to get a lot of really premium components that usually you don't find in computers that start at $400. So I think when you consider a Surface product, I think it's expected that there will be a bit of a price premium that goes along with it. But you also know that you're getting amongst the best hardware in not only just the PC world, but the entire, computer sphere. The hardware here looks and feels incredible and offers things that you don't get at a lot of competitive price points. The Surface Go 2 is now a product with a purpose. I could see why a lot of people would welcome this little guy into their homes. It makes sense for a lot of uses. And during my past week and a half with it, I've really enjoyed having it, and I've been using it for those purposes. As a companion computer, it's been a really welcome addition to my house. And if you decide to spend the money, I think it'll be a really welcome addition to yours as well.
I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Motion VFX for sponsoring this video. If you liked our intro and
pretty much every intro we've done over the past few years, motion VFX is the wizardry and mastery behind it. Anybody can use this. You don't have to be an editing, magician, but motion VFX kind of makes you look like one. So for this video intro, we used a few different things. So first was MVCR in the beginning to kind of give that like old school effect. And that was pretty much just plug and play. Then for kind of some fun editing effects, we used M-Prism for the distortion on the clips and M-Kinetic for the transitions. And we made slight tweaks to each to make it look the way we wanted. And kind of in seconds, we had a really complex visual effect. If you want to check out everything Motion VFX has to offer, and you definitely should if you want to step up your video game, we'll link to it down below.